You're listening to the Ecosystem Approach show. I'm Jason.
And I'm Patricia. Tune in every Monday at 1 p.m. Pacific Time and 4 p.m. Eastern Time on Transformation Talk Radio.
We discovered that human potential is severely limited when you program humans like a machine, which is standard practice today for self-improvement.
The ecosystem approach teaches you how to uncover your infinite potential by using natural methods that are truly revolutionary. Join us now for the Ecosystem Approach show. Hi, we're pre-recording this segment for Memorial Day, and we're going to have some fun by telling you stories about us being intuitives for over 20 years together, and of course, being married to each other. We are married intuitives with over 20 years experience who created the ecosystem approach for you. This is much different because we see human beings as ecosystems that need to be restored instead of programmed. We show you how to take an energy approach for an internal discovery that is rational, practical, and useful for everyday life. Jason, what story are we going to tell first?
Well, we're going to have you tell the story about the little boy when you were a little girl.
Okay.
And I'm just going to give you the lead in, which is this was when she was very young and
I was like five or six,
yes,
right around there.
And so you knew you had this ability. You had no concept of it, no context for it.
No.
And so this is what happened.
Well, and so I came from a very large family. There was people in and out of our house all the time. And my brother had a friend over, and his mother and his sister came to pick him up. And when they stepped through the front door, there was a lot of people in the living room, so forth. And I saw this little boy poking the sister of my brother's friend. And you could just tell, I could tell, it was just irritating her. She was like moving her shoulders and trying to back away. And although I knew even at the time, she couldn't see it. And how I knew that, honestly, I don't know. But I turned around to my mother and I said, "Mom, make that little boy stop bugging her." And my mother we called it she gave me the eye, as mothers do. But the little boy didn't stop. And so I said, "Mom, make that little boy stop. He's bugging her." And by the way, I said this out loud. Everybody could hear it. And my mother bent down and she basically got in my face and she said, "Shut up. No one can see what you see." And she said, "We'll deal with this one later."
Your mother could see also.
Well, and I suspected, it was a given to me because I saw these kind of things all the time, but I had never seen a little boy that was in another dimension or from another dimension that was so mean. I had never seen that. And it was like I was questioning it. So, of course, the afternoon goes on. They stayed way too long. And finally, the evening ends. And my mother, one of the things she did was she walked us to bed every night. And my sister and I slept in the same room. And so I said to her, "Mom, what, what, I don't understand about that little boy." And she said to me quietly, as if my sister couldn't hear it, she said, "No one can see what you and I see, Patty. So understand you're different and we are never going to talk about this again." Well, I knew my mother's voice tone and I knew that look in her eye and I said, "Okay." So we never did talk about that particular instance again, but I do want to say through the years, I discovered that my mother had some of the same abilities that I did.
Well, so there's a couple takeaways here.
Okay.
First of all, it was shaming, like you were caught playing doctors with the boy next door or something. It was.
That's another show.
But it was like, and this is we've experienced this a lot as
Yes,
intuitives.
yes.
There's this is prejudice against
Oh,
anything energetic like this.
exactly.
Now I see that younger people are accepting it much more.
Right.
Older people might look at us like, "Oh, you're crazy." Younger people say, "Oh yeah, oh that's cool. Oh
That's
neat,
cool.
yeah,
Or,
yeah,
oh, how do you do that?
exactly."
That kind of thing.
But
Yeah,
it created a lifetime of shame
for me,
around your abilities.
to be able to see. And I have to admit, my abilities are rather extraordinary because I don't just see, and I don't just, meaning have the ability to see and feel energy. I actually can see in depth in other dimensions.
You can smell,
And I can smell, and I can
you can
even
hear.
taste, and I hear, and which is very, very unusual for an intuitive, meaning most people don't have that many abilities. I'll say it that way.
Well, and I don't. Mine
Jason,
is more broad based,
right?
and but there's more. You go out there and receive everything, and I go out there and I'm very critical about what I'm what makes sense and what doesn't.
Exactly.
And we both have the ability to see. She's much more specific,
Well, a
micro,
detailed, micro
detailed.
than detailed. Yes, exactly.
I'm much more broad,
Yeah.
seeing the big picture,
Right. 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 Right.
and so it's not good or bad. It's just different.
It's just, and it's just the way it is. And I have to say this because of the ecosystem approach. That was a plug, everyone. Because of the ecosystem approach, my abilities have been honed even sharper, as I would say, or I have greater clarity.
We don't think of intuition as something that you developed. Now, we have
No.
seen some intuitive courses, but all they
Yes.
do is just have you practice, and that doesn't develop your intuition.
No.
What we do literally makes it better and better and better.
Well, because when you remove the negative energies, this is the thing that we found. And I'll be honest with you, we had no idea how we were even that we were even going to do this, but because these abilities started to develop and become more sharpened or honed, it's so amazing the clarity that we both have received because of it.
So, some more stories.
Okay.
One of the things that we did this for like 2 years in a row. We went to a New Age Expo in San
Right.
Francisco,
Right.
and we got a booth, and we called ourselves something different then, but do we use the word intuitive? I don't remember.
No,
It doesn't
we
matter.
didn't. We didn't.
But
We were in the psychic row.
okay, we were in the psychic row,
Right.
and
Division.
we
Yeah.
we walked in one day, and there was this woman going, "Oh," she was doing the gypsy thing, and had what are those
the symbols. Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
and she was dressed up like a just gypsy and that sort of thing, and drama.
And by the way, nothing wrong with that. And she had effect. Well, we admit.
Yeah,
but
it was more drama than it was
yes.
Actuality. We didn't have what we call evolved consciousness.
Right.
And then at the same place, we were able to see this.
There was a huge group in the center. They had bought the biggest booth or the biggest space.
No, you're getting confused. You're talking about the one. There was a school, and they bought a big space.
That's right.
And then there was a guy who bought a booth, and he named it Best in Show.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's the one.
Yeah,
okay,
he wasn't in this. He wasn't in the same area that we were. He was down on the floor because
Right.
he paid more money. But he labeled it the Best in Show. And at the time, we were just charging a few bucks. I don't remember how much it was.
It wasn't a lot.
Yes. to give someone a sort of an orientation.
Right.
Take a look at him and give him an orientation. He said, "I'm the best in show," and he charged us this just ungodly amount.
And this was like almost 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And he charged like $500.
Yes.
Well, and I have to say, I remember that, and we were kind of like, okay. And then somebody came around that had actually paid the $500, and they said, "I can't believe that I spent that money. I would have much rather not only spent that money with you, but also spend time with you." And we were like, okay.
And we didn't have any gypsy costumes.
No, we
I think
didn't.
I had a polo.
Yeah.
I look,
Wait,
my doctor,
straight lace.
my doctor calls me white bread, but I had a polo shirt.
Yeah.
But it was just about the intuition for us.
It was, and it always has been, actually.
Yes. And he could feel that we had something different.
Yeah.
But this idea, and this is where we start to develop this idea about who we were and where we're going to be in the world,
Right, right,
is
right.
that people are really gullible. Just
Yeah.
because he labeled it best in show,
Didn't
to
make
me, he was the
him.
best in
Yeah.
show.
Exactly. Okay, Jason has another story, and it's kind of the one that I started about. This group that was a school. They had the largest area in this entire thing, and we had taken a break from our booth, and we were walking around, and this woman, she not only pointed, but she threw energy at Jason that I heard him go, and she said, "You," and this, it was as if the devil had just roared up in her, and she said, "You are just the worst." And I mean, she started
Actually,
going off.
you make it more it look like the
It
negative
was.
voice. That's how it felt.
Oh
But
man.
she had she had a demeanor that was semi-professional, and it for me, the big takeaway, I got really mad. It was the first time it was jealousy and competition all over the place, because that's what it was.
That's exactly what it was,
And
because she could see who Jason was and his abilities. And I mean, you got to give her that. Okay. But her approach, and I finally had to stand between her and Jason. And I said to her, and I put my hand up, excuse me, just like this. And I said, "You need to knock it off, because he will take you out." And she just, and you could tell she was just enraged. And I said, "I mean it." And of course, me and my small, um, you know,
you,
uh, mousy voice ended up having to
she's being
yell at her.
sarcastic, everybody. She has no small mousy voice. And if
Ever.
drama sells, we should have used you more
Oh
often
my
for that.
gosh, we never even thought about that. It's a saleable item. But the bottom line is that yes, there are other people out there. They can see who we are. They can
They can
see who
see.
they can
There
see.
are people that can see, but
Yeah.
it doesn't necessarily make them acting in your best interest or doing things that are beneficial in the world.
Exactly. And by the way, that's one of our biggest things. We want to work in people's best interest and do the best that we can for the world,
For you,
and
if you're listening right now.
exactly, and the world around us, because we see the condition of the people, which is, I have to say, start using the ecosystem approach, and you won't be in this group that I'm talking about, but we can see the people are really struggling, and we see that the earth is really
All the
struggling.
people that were in that group,
Yes.
they were doing readings on people for
Yes, they were.
it was really cheap, but you could see they had this glassed over zombie look,
Yeah.
like they were on
Oh,
the
yeah, I'd
walking
forgotten
deck,
about
or
that. Yeah,
like they were just going through. And I think they felt they were just being whatever.
exactly.
But
So, yeah, we're
so
running out of time in
let's
this segment. What are the key points, Jason?
our experience has made us skeptical of our peers and their claims about abilities.
Right?
Psychics, clairvoyants, mediums, intuitives are very competitive, creates a lot of misinformation.
Correct.
And the ethics of working with energy is filled with misconception and misinformation.
Correct.
And the ecosystem approach was created so you can see for yourself and not have to rely on others for that information.
Exactly. In the next segment, we're going to talk about being married to each other as intuitives. Um, and how do you function as a couple with both of you that have significant intuition? You'll be shocked. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason and Patricia, and you're listening to Transformation Talk Radio. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason, and I'm Patricia. And in this segment, we're going to talk about being married to each other as intuitives. How do we function as a couple when both have significant intuition? You might be a little surprised by this. We are married intuitives with over 20 years' experience who created the ecosystem approach for you. This is much different because we see human beings as ecosystems that need to be restored instead of programmed. We show you how to take an energy approach for internal discovery that is rational, practical, and useful for everyday life. Okay, Jason, many people have asked me about being an intuitive and married Does that cause a problem? That's usually their question.
And the reason we were just talking about this yesterday, I think this
Okay.
is a really fascinating, is that it's based on the presumption that um, if you want, bought those pair of shoes and I'd get mad about it, you'd have to keep a secret from me,
Oh, I
or
yeah, yeah.
that couples have these secrets and they have these. It's their way of dealing with the conflict
Exactly,
because
exactly.
they manipulate and keep secrets
Right. And
and
hide.
hide or get
Ex-
angry or
mhm.
whatever. And for us, we clear all that.
Well, and one of the most interesting things to me about our relationship is that in creating the ecosystem approach, we realize that and I'm the secrets that we're talking about, most people are going, I'm not telling my husband or my boyfriend or my girlfriend all of these secrets, that kind of thing. That's not exactly what we're talking about. But I can go to Jason with anything about anything, and because we have worked diligently on jealousy and competition, we have been able to present to each other whatever the issue is.
Well, it creates a form of goodwill. So
Yeah,
if I
there you
say
go.
something to you, it's not like you're going to look at it in the worst possible way. You're gonna see it in the best possible way in context for me.
Exactly. And because I've walked around, when there's an issue between us, I call this a walkabout. In other words, if there's a problem, well, let's use one. It's really important because this is one of the biggest things that couples have: money. Money is a huge issue. And so if for some reason I want a new pair of shoes that cost $500 and
She just slipped that in. I don't know. My
um,
intuition is
yeah,
telling me.
but what I would do if I wanted those $500 shoes, I would, before I said to him, "Oh, these shoes are great," and all that, all the the convincing part, I would walk about, and then I would clear all the negative energies around, starting with my negative energies about these shoes. And by the way, I do have a real affinity for shoes. I just want to say that. But that's not the issue here. And then I would do the same thing about how am I going to present this to him. And in other words, are the shoes really important? Will they look good with only one outfit? And I'm just
well,
giving examples
well,
of what.
in other words, you're going to do your due diligence first of all
Of
to
course
say,
I will.
does it even make sense?
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
that's part of using the ecosystem
Well, and
approach.
that's because that's that practicality part that
Well,
we talk about.
that's part of your astrology.
Yes.
It's but it's also part of the clearing. A lot
Yeah.
of people do things compulsively, like so might love shoes, but
And just buy them.
but compulsive about buying. They can't help themselves.
Yes, yes,
Compulsiveness,
yes, yes, yes.
and compulsiveness is a form of negative energy. So if
Totally.
you have compulsiveness about money, about drinking, about activities, about
Exactly.
gambling,
Exactly. Exactly.
what there's all sorts of other things,
Exactly. Exactly.
and um, those are the things that get in the way of a marriage. We've been clearing all that. We spend most of our time clearing it away. Anyways, so the fact that we have to keep secrets from each other or manipulate each other is, it wouldn't work anyways.
Yeah.
It wouldn't work anyways, but it's
Right.
unnecessary.
Well, and that's part of for us, we are, and I'm going to say lucky that we both are intuitive with at such a high level that we both can see the
Each
things,
other's story.
each other's stories,
We
learn
both
that story.
we both understand each other's story as well,
Yes.
or maybe sometimes better than the other person.
Oh boy,
and
that is the truth.
and we help each other.
Yes.
It's truly a partnership. We help each other to work with that story,
Yes.
to identify some of the negative stuff and then start
Exactly.
removing it.
And the other thing is that because of that, we are better people for it. And I'm talking about people in general. And we have understandings we've created. You know how when you're with someone for a long time and they make that move, you know what that move means. Well, that's great. But what about all the other stuff?
The
that
motivations
the
for it.
motivations for it that they're
And that's what
not
the ecosystem approach covers
really
up.
works. Yes.
But so everybody wants the story. So,
Okay.
I'm just going to skip around here a little bit.
Sure.
One of the things that we did, um, that I think is really kind of neat,
Okay.
is when the coronavirus first happened, we went and looked intuitively at the virus itself.
Yes.
And we saw that the virus itself had a personality. Now, you won't get this under a microscope,
No.
you know,
And you can't prove it in a blood test.
and the way you get it, the way you understand personality anyways,
Right.
is intuitively.
Right.
You know, that's why on Star Trek,
Yes.
the counselor was a psychic or a
Oh, that's
intuitive.
right. Right. Right.
Yeah,
Right. Yes.
and to us it makes perfect sense.
Right.
You understand personality via intuition,
Correct.
and so we got the personality chronicles. That was fun.
That was a lot of fun, and one of the things that he and I will do, which is kind of interesting because most couples don't do this. I started looking at it. We usually start by Jason asking me questions, so I have a path in which I'm gonna go
She's
towards.
the
Anyway.
communicator,
I
so
really
I'm
am.
the one that's sitting back and saying, okay, does this make sense? Does this make sense? And she
Right.
just goes out there and gets the information
Right.
and
And
downloads it.
it's really really cool. And one of the things that I connected the coronavirus to, which I thought this was very interesting, was the bubonic plague. And that to me was fascinating because I mean, how
It
many
also had a personality.
oh, and it had a personality, and it was not quite as mean and nasty as this one.
As you open up your intuition,
Right.
you have access to all sorts of information that is completely invisible in the world today.
Exactly.
Well, let's
exactly.
go for some more
Okay.
stories.
All right, go
Okay.
ahead.
My mom has dementia. She also can't hear very well. She's 91 years old.
Well,
And so the two combined are really, really difficult. But what we've done
mhm.
is you can't really talk to her straight on because she can't hear you and then she can't remember, you know. So it's
Yeah,
kind of a
double
double.
whammy.
But
I
her
know.
essence, we go
And
in the
talk to
back
her
door.
essence, yes.
Her essence is still functioning, and that's where we go and talk to her.
Right.
And you know, a lot of people have said to us, "Oh, is she going to get? You know, has she got angry yet? Has she thrown fits yet?" And for the most part, she doesn't do that. And if she would, we would just clear it.
Well, and I want to say this. And by the way, I love Jason's mom. She's one of the sweetest people you ever want to meet. And I'm not the only one to think so, but one time during this dementia, and this was about a year ago, she she raged. And by the way, I've never seen her rage. And she was raging, and um I could see she didn't understand. And it started very slowly, and then it built steam, so to speak. And when he walked into the room, because he could hear what
She
was
was
going
screaming,
on,
yeah.
she was screaming. She went after him. And by the way, she thinks he walks on water. She loves him. He can do no wrong. Doesn't always make it easy for me,
Well,
but that's not the real issue. But the thing that amazed me the most was she went after him. I actually had to grab a hold of her, and it's the only time she'd done any sort of violence. And we basically, after she went back to sleep, and she calmed down, and we went out. And the thing that I was so grateful for the ecosystem approach, because we sat down and we started clearing her, and she's never done it since.
that's the point.
That is
The point is that we went and saw the negative energy that was literally possessing her,
Yes.
and then we cleared it. And we were doing that in the moment,
Yes.
but
That's what calmed her down.
that's what calmed her down. And ever
Yes.
since, we've been doing that. We've been doing it preemptively,
Yeah.
and that really helps also.
And the other thing is that before then she had been, I would say, rather depressed. And when all of that happened, we saw how much depression that we could see that she actually had.
Here's another really good story. And no, we're almost out of time, but
For this segment,
you had a heart valve surgery.
I did.
And they allowed, there was your daughter and me and your sister that went into the room afterwards, and she was under anesthesia. You were out of it.
I was laying stoic. And by the way, anybody that knows me,
tube
I'm
down.
not stoic.
She had a tube down her throat. The whole
The whole
thing.
9 yards, yes.
But this is where my intuition, I could see that there were some comments made that your sister, you have this relationship with your sister.
Yeah.
And so but I saw a reaction from you, and it was just subtle. It was just your eyes opened up a little bit. It was they didn't see it, and
No,
anybody else wouldn't have really seen the reaction. But as I was driving home, the doctor called me and said, I'm going back in because
I had to have two surgeries in one day.
there was blood coming out of her chest tube
Yes,
that was supposed to help drain, and that indicated there might be a bleed.
yes,
Well, I knew that bleed was a metaphor for anger, and I
right,
saw the anger in the moment,
right.
and I started clearing, and it was wonderful. But part of it was not just that I was intuitive, you know, but that I knew her story so well,
Right.
and I saw the dynamic, and I saw what was happening, and was able to take action. It's a fascinating way of using intuition.
Exactly. So, Jason, what are the key points of this segment?
Good energy happens even when we work together, and when we do, the dogs always come and sit in our laps,
Yes,
when
they
we
do.
do that, they love that. We both like having a practical usable results when we come together to do energy work,
Yeah.
and working with energy as a couple can be bonding, creates a closeness that most couples don't have.
Hmm.
And the ecosystem approach teaches you to use your inner resources as a couple that is unheard of today.
In the next segment, we're going to talk about the stories that are behind our conservative approach to energy and consciousness and why it could be the best way for you going forward. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason and Patricia. You're listening to Transformation Talk Radio. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason, and I'm Patricia. And in this segment, we're going to talk about the stories that are behind our conservative approach to energy and consciousness and why it could be the best way for you going forward. We are married intuitives with over 20 years' experience who created the ecosystem approach for you. This is much different because we see human beings as ecosystems that need to be restored instead of programmed. We show you how to take an energy approach for internal discovery that is rational, practical, and useful for everyday life. All right, Jason, I want to know what you mean by conservative approach with energy and consciousness.
It's sort of an oxymoron because, everybody outside of us thinks we're hippies. We're the,
Wait, far out, man.
they don't know, they say that we're, weird, crazy,
Yeah,
hippie,
yeah,
all those things. And the truth is that we see that energy exists, first of all.
yes,
Subtle energies exist, and you access them via your intuition.
yes,
And that everything we do is to say, okay, how can we take this information and make it useful
right.
for you, the audience that's listening or watching right now?
Well, and you know what I want to put in right here, the conservative part where I see my part coming from is there is nothing that we don't help other people with that Jason and I haven't worked with before. We use this on ourselves. We use this practice every single day.
We do it on ourselves first, and then we take it out
Absolutely.
into the world. And that's the
Absolutely.
way we met. That's how we started.
Are,
That's the
are
whole
you're
whole
going to
thing.
talk about how we met, huh?
No, I don't want
You're
to talk
not going
about
to talk
that.
about that. Okay.
Well, and the truth is that being practical,
Oh,
you know,
so important.
this is a great example. The woman who was doing the gypsy thing in the New Age Expo,
Yes.
um, that was for entertainment. That was for drama.
Well,
And there's
sure.
nothing wrong with that. But our focus primarily is, okay, how can we be helpful to you? And if you're listening right now, that's everything we do is how can we help make your life better?
Yes.
It's not about our ability to be intuitive. It's about how we can use that to help you have a better life, whether it's money, relationships, health,
Exactly.
self-actualization, well-being.
Exactly. And by the way, the ecosystem approach, that's exactly what it does.
It's in
It's
it
all of those
it
things.
affects all areas of your life, and all
Yes.
areas of your life are connected to energy.
Every everything.
Success,
Yes.
failure, whether you have money,
Absolutely.
whether you don't, whether you have weight loss or weight gain,
Yes.
your relationships.
Hmm.
There's always energy. That's the big invisible part
Right.
of relationships.
Exactly.
So let's do some stories, okay?
Okay.
Um, oh, this is a great one. Okay,
Okay.
I had this guy was referred to us, and he was quite a character. He had this really strange, difficult relationship with his mother.
Okay.
And, the way he viewed us was that he was the machine and we were the programmers.
Right.
And so he wanted us to program him so his machine wouldn't make any mistakes.
Oh, that, yeah.
Yeah, and he
Okay.
came to us one time, and he made this major screw up, I think it was with his mother, and he said, "Why'd you let me do that?" And I said, "Well, first of all, I'm not the one. It's a whole different. It's I bring up this story because it really highlights the different approach that we have.
Right.
We want to help you uncover and restore your essence, and so that your essence can guide you, not us.
Exactly. Exactly. And the irony about most people when they think of intuitives or clairvoyants or psychics, that sort of thing, they most people want them, the intuitive clairvoyance, psychic, they want them to
Fix it.
fix it, and they want them to be the one in power so they can blame us.
Yes.
And we have seen this multiple
When
times.
someone puts us on a pedestal, which has happened a
Which
lot over the
happens,
20 years,
sure.
it's a setup because they're
Mhm.
gonna they're gonna something's gonna work out and they're gonna blame us,
Exactly.
and as
Exactly.
opposed to saying, okay, well, I'm gonna deal with this. Even in our relationship,
Yes.
we first
I
take
don't know
response.
what he's going to say here.
Yeah, take responsibility for each other. We don't take So in other words, I'm always tripping up, and you're the first one to offer me a hand and help me back up. And I'm speaking metaphorically. Okay.
Okay.
If there's energy that trips me up or whatever. But for the most part, I see as my responsibility. So if I trip, it's my job to get up.
Right.
She's always there to help me.
And I can say vice versa.
Yeah.
By all means. By all means. It's not, you know, just because we can see doesn't mean that we get to either blame or demand that the other one take the responsibility for it.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that we've seen when people come to us. They want us to be responsible for their unhappiness, their poor health, their money problems, so forth, so forth.
And we see it's not them personally.
No, it's their training, it's those rules,
It's their energy.
Yes.
The energy attached to them that's causing the problem, and we
Yes.
help them get rid of that energy.
Yes, yes,
But that
yes.
energy, we didn't put it there, and it's not our total responsibility to help them remove it. Now, a lot of
Right.
times we do help them remove it,
Well, of course, but we will talk to them about
how
exactly
they can do it for
how they
themselves.
can do it for themselves.
And that's where the real power is.
It truly is. It's kind of remarkable how that all happens.
On the same vein, we had that. It was a PhD clinical psychologist
Yes.
who came to us, and she was very open-minded because she came to us. Okay.
Right.
But later on, I kind of figured out that no one else wanted to talk to her. The reason she came to us is that she would have these sessions with me where she would dump her negative energy, which she had a
Right.
lot of, on me.
Mhm.
And this is when we had a two-story house before, and Patricia would be upstairs, and she'd come down and says, "Who are you talking to? Oh my gosh!"
Right,
She
because
could
I
feel
could
it.
feel it all the way upstairs, this negative energy. It was like it was leaking up the stairs. I don't know how else to describe it. But the irony was that this person had all these credentials behind her name. And I'll be honest with you, she truly didn't know how to use them.
I would be scared to go to her
Oh,
for any sort of problem because I wouldn't trust her motives. That negative energy was the one that was in charge, not her. And
exactly.
it was pretty
And
bad.
she
And we
was
had to
truly an abused person,
we
abused
literally
soul.
had to fire her because it just wasn't going anyplace. And
No.
in all the helping professions, in fact, if you're a psychologist, a therapist, and you're listening to this right now, it's the negative energy that
Exactly.
is the problem. And what we've seen is that a lot of therapists break down over time because
Yes.
as they talk to their clients
And they're dumping stuff on them.
with very good intention, that
Yes.
that
Their
build of
heart's in the right place.
negative energy builds up, and that's when the burnout happens.
Exactly. And I remember people coming to me in the beginning saying, you need to get yourself a therapist. You might be able to do all this, but you need to get yourself a therapist because you're going to have burnout. And I have to say, after 20 years, I do not have any burnout. This is so cool because now, yeah, I have my own issues. I still have certain issues,
And we still clear every
and we
day.
still clear every day. And the irony is that the ecosystem approach works. I just find it to be phenomenal as to how it
The
works.
burnout has to do with how people exchange energy in the world, and because energy is invisible for the most part,
Right, right,
and
right.
that's part of our mission, is to help people understand how relationships, you exchange energy.
Exactly.
And frankly, that's why we do so well together, is because we know how people exchange energy, and we do it in a very proper way.
Exactly. And it's and by the way, it's brought us closer together all along.
She's playing footsie with me right now, just so you guys know. Anyways.
He can't help himself, everyone. So, Mr. Rohn, is it ready to
Yeah,
are we
let's
ready to do the
let's
key
show.
points?
Yeah, let's do the key points.
All right.
The
So go ahead.
the ecosystem approach was created so energy work would always be practical for everyday life. Programming tells you how to live, um, versus learning how to live by using your inner resources. So programming tells you how to live, basically,
Right.
where we tell you how to learn by using your inner resources, because that's what should be in control,
Yes.
not someone else program you from the outside.
Right.
And intuitive should never tell you how to live. We've developed the ecosystem approach so you could connect with your own inner resources.
Mhm.
And the ecosystem approach came from the desire to teach people how to care for themselves in a profound way.
Exactly. So, Jason, let's teach um, everyone how to do the ecosystem approach. We call it the clearing,
Yes,
and
removing negative energy.
removing negative energy. And then after that, I'm going to talk about life force energy.
So you don't have to sit, you can sit, stand, walk, lay down.
Mhm.
You don't have to be in a Zen position. You don't have to be reverent. You don't have to have the head bowed, any of that.
Right.
This is energy. And all you have to do is, when we say to eliminate, whether it's barriers, veils, and illusions, specific,
Negative,
yeah,
specific energies.
yes, gather them up your body and then blow them into the processor. And I know Olivia's going to put the processor up in the on the screen. That's what it
Mhm.
looks like. If
Yes.
you can memorize that in your mind's eye, that's the best place to put it.
Well, and there's another way to do that.
You can put it into a trash can that's actual, or if you like, if you're driving, you
Uh-huh.
can have an imaginary trash can right outside your window.
Exactly. And the other thing is on our um, page, there's a picture
Website.
on our
So,
website.
so if you go to our website, theecosystemapproach.org,
Mhm.
and sign up for our free section, there's a picture of the processor, and it has all the wording. So you do the clearing,
And you can download that for yourself.
download it and print it out,
Right.
and actually cut it out, make a little thing out of it. So
Exactly. So, and the next thing that we're gonna do after that is we're gonna activate life force energy, the most powerful energy any of us has access to. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna call upon it. We're gonna ask it to come in through the top of our head, go all the way down our body to the tips of our toes. We're gonna stop it right there. Then we're going to turn it around, because you can just say turn around, and we're going to have any negative energy that's been left over for whatever reason, because there's a lots of it, and you can have that very positive energy help you remove negative energy for yourself. Stay tuned. When we come back, we're going to get you started clearing for great relationships, better self-care by using your inner resources. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason and Patricia, and you're listening to Transformation Talk Radio. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason, and I'm Patricia. And in this segment, we're going to get you started clearing for great relationships, better self care, all kinds of things, the things that you need and want in your life by using your inner resources. Jason, are you ready?
here we go. I direct all my resources in all dimensions to eliminate the veils and illusions so I can see the benefit of understanding energy for my life. Gather up all those veils and illusions,
And
blow them
throw
in
it in that
processor.
processor.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Olivia has that up, which is absolutely fabulous. So, and to eliminate any anger, hate, rage, bitterness, which blocks my evolved consciousness, even if I don't feel it or know it. Take a breath. Get rid of that negative energy that's blocking you. Throw it in that processor.
And to eliminate my fears and anxieties that interfere with my evolved consciousness, even if I don't feel it. And we say that because people say, well, I'm not afraid. I'm not angry.
and I don't feel it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but we can see the energy of it is there.
exactly. Take that,
Gather up that anger, the fears and anxieties. Yes.
throw it away. And to eliminate the veils and illusions so I can see my life's purpose is to learn at a level of my essence. And I want you to know, everyone, this one is key. Let me say that one again. And to eliminate the veils and illusions so I can see my personal life's purpose is to learn at the level of my essence. Nice and easy. Take a breath. Clear away those blocks, those veils and illusions, and throw them away.
And to eliminate the barriers so I can see that the ecosystem approach can help me heal. Gather up those barriers.
Everything.
Yep. Blow them into the processor.
And to eliminate the false belief that psychics can help me gain life and overcome difficulties. By the way, not true. Take a breath and blow it out.
And to eliminate the veils and illusions so I can see that I need to know what's in my best interest, not the experts.
Yeah,
It's what's in your best interest. Experts don't necessarily know what's in your best
exactly.
interest.
Take a breath. And to eliminate my difficulty believing that inner resources are the most important. The truth is, they are. Take a breath.
And to eliminate my compulsion to trust outside experts and conventional wisdom versus my own inner resources or my own inner wisdom.
Take a breath. And to eliminate my compulsion to ignore my hurt and trauma and old negative programming. Truth is, it's getting in the way. Get rid of it. Blow it out.
And to eliminate seeing myself as a machine that needs to be programmed instead of a human ecosystem.
Take a breath. Ready to activate some life force?
Yes.
Here we go. I direct all my resources in all dimensions to activate life force energy. Pull it in right here so I can develop my inner resources by using the ecosystem approach. Nice and easy. Take a breath.
And to activate life force so I can trust that I can clear my negative emotions versus program them away,
Ooh, good one.
force them away. Take a breath.
Go ahead.
And to activate life force so I can have determination to use my energy abilities in my daily life.
Take a breath. And to eliminate the blocks so I can give myself permission to give the ecosystem approach a chance by doing it every single day. Well, I don't know. When I wake up in the morning, take a breath. And one last one. Ready? And to activate life force in through the top of your head so I can have happiness, hope, laughter, fun, creativity, objectivity, power, love of myself, love of others, and understanding and compassion, not only for myself, but for the world around me and the entire world. Nice and easy. Pull it in. Let it go all the way down your body. And stop it at the tips of your toes and blow out any negative energy that's stopping you from that request right there. Jason, how can I get more information and real support from the ecosystem approach?
So if you had fun with us today, if something in there clicked about your life,
Okay.
that, oh my gosh, maybe I have a problem with relationships, maybe I have a problem with money, maybe it's just, I just don't I feel like I have the happiness and joy that I should.
Right.
Chances are it's negative energy. And the way to get rid of that is applying the ecosystem approach.
Right. Right.
So how do you do that? First of all, go to our website, go right now, theecosystemapproach.org, and sign up for our free section. When you do that, you get the weekly newsletter, which is kind of the backstory to our show.
Exactly.
And also it tells you, it gives you a group of clearings with all the words there. So people say, oh, I forgot how to say this. How do you do this?
I don't do this. Exactly.
It's all written out for you, all right there. And a lot of our clients who've been with us for years take that and put it on their phone
Right.
and do those clearings. Because here's the thing about clearings that people don't understand.
Okay.
It's cumulative.
Yes. Oh, yeah. And it's great.
We use clearings as opposed to affirmations,
Yes.
because affirmations um, uh, pile up on top of the negative energy that's already there.
And to be honest, I used affirmations until I started working with Jason and we started using the ecosystem approach. And I have to tell you, 1,000 times better than just affirmations. I'm not saying affirmations are bad, but when there's negative energy below them,
It's
it doesn't work very
it's a
well.
whole different concept,
It
because
really is.
affirmations don't understand the truth
Right.
that what needs to be restored is your ecosystem.
Right.
And when you clear away the negatives, just like any other ecosystem, you take away the toxics in the ecosystem,
Very good.
then the ecosystem will restore itself. You
Right.
don't need to put affirmations or put things into an
Right.
ecosystem.
Right.
You just need to let it
Be itself.
Yes.
And by the way, we were all given that ability. I'm going to do a plug for what we do. We do different shows every week, and every week there's a different topic. And sometimes we do a series of certain shows or whatever. But I want you to know, we look around and see what people need and want and why.
How can we be practical for you?
Exactly. And so with that said, I'm handing the Facebook thing to you.
Yeah, please go look us up on Facebook, theecosystemapproach.org. And on our Facebook page, we have all the videos that we just started doing videos on Facebook Live.
Right.
So while you're there, like us, leave a comment if you like. Leave an idea for a show.
Exactly.
Is there something that you're interested in that's practical for your life that you
want?
Or
if you have a question about the show today or any show, we would love to hear from you. One more time, what's that address, Jason?
Theecosystemapproach.org on Facebook. And ironically, it's the same address on the web, theecosystemapproach.org. So that's where you go to our website, and there's a lot of content there. If you sign up for our free section, we especially the articles about discovery, it's a big deal.
Oh yeah. If you want to know more about us and about how we see, or not see, but how we have helped people, start with the discovery show. It is, or there's two of them. Start with them. You will get a lot of information and a lot of understanding about that. So we'll connect next week, Monday at 1 p.m. Pacific and 4 p.m. Eastern time on Monday. This is Transformation Talk Radio, and you're listening to the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason and Patricia.
Remember, your ecosystem is the most important one in the world.
Thank you for listening to the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason and Patricia. I'm Patricia. Tune in every week as we discuss practical ways to apply the ecosystem approach and develop your potential to live your life on your terms. For more information, visit our website at theecosystemapproach.org.